Hi everyone. I am getting set up for day 3 for our final day of elevation through illumination, and I'm so excited. So hi Mary. I'm just going through and I'm gonna let a few more people join before we get started. I hope everyone's been having a good week, and I hope you've all been enjoying this training so far. So yeah, we'll let a few more people join and then we will get started. Hey Maria, I'm so glad to see you here. I got your email last week, I think. So I do get to write you back. This camera's like a little close. I do get to write you back. It's just been, as you can see, like the busiest week this week. I love doing these trainings with you guys. It is a lot that like goes into the training before the training starts, and then it's a lot that goes into it during. And I've been also doing my regularly scheduled calls Wednesday too. So I'm just really behind on emails right now. So if anybody sent me an email and I haven't got back to you, please know that I will. It's just me over here, right? So I'm a one-woman show. So I get to reply, and actually next week, because this has been such a busy week, next week I had it set up, and this is why I love when we ask the universe for direction, we ask the universe for guidance and to lead us on our highest path. Because before I had scheduled the training for this week, I had already scheduled myself the whole week off next week. And then when I was thinking like this week, I'm like, man, I'm getting pretty tired. And then I realized I have the whole week off, like not just Thanksgiving and Friday, I have the whole week off. And so it's just funny how I planned this months ago, or like I planned this week off months ago, and then here I am doing this class, and then I'm actually scheduled off next week. So next week, while I say I'm off, I'm just not doing sessions. I will be responding to emails. I will be getting back to you guys. So, you guys, we are at day 3, and I am so excited. Hey Lauren, I hope you're feeling well. I was going to text you this morning, and then I realized how late I was running, so I will follow up with you after today's session. And oh, you're in the process of moving, Maria. Oh, that's a big undertaking, and what an energetic time to do it, right? Like shifting and changing and clearing out. So this is really random, but anybody can use this. This is a really good time for clearing and making space. And that's something that I actually teach when, and I kind of talked about it in here, like when you want to connect with spirit, you got to make the space. But if you want to manifest something, if there's something that you're trying to manifest, specifically something around money or calling somebody or something physical into your life, it's always really good to see what you can purge. So purge energetically, but also purge physically to create the space for those things to come in. We hold on to so much, and there's many things that we don't need that we keep, and they so just understand that things take up energetic space and things collect energy like they would collect dust. So if there's things that you can either clear out with sage or clear out physically, this is a great time to do it. I always clear out toys. I go through toys and clothes every single year, 2 times a year, like right before, like right in the middle of the year, and then right before Christmas, because I feel like I can give these toys away to kids that want them. My kids aren't playing with them anymore, and then create the space for the new to come in. So just a thought for anybody that's on here that wants that. So before we jump into today's lesson, I want to talk about, just for a minute, the intuitive development course with you guys, because I don't think that I've kind of told you guys like, hey, this will support you along your journey, but I haven't told you like what it's really about. So there's a lot in the course. I know I've said a bunch of times there's over 30 videos in there, and there is, and there's about to be more because after a week or so, I'm gonna pull these videos down and I'm gonna add them just as a free bonus in there for you guys to keep watching over and over. But because, you know, there's a lot of people in the course that aren't in here, so they'll get that. And then if these lessons have supported you, you can go back over them. But I haven't told you exactly what's in the course besides lessons on all 4 clairs. So if you want to learn how to develop your claircognizance, clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience, there is lessons on each one of those, and they're broken down in an easy way for you to understand with exercises that are going to help you tap into them, learn how to manage them easily, learn how to grow them, learn how to tune in and out of them. There's also lessons on being an empath, it's kind of like an empath survival kit, if you will. There's lessons on being an empath. There's lessons on expanding your energy, contracting your energy, turning up your intuitive dial, as I like to call it, to receive more, or turning it down when you need to receive a little less. And that is super supportive around the holidays, right? Though for many of us, that's going to look different this year. And then there is a ton of bonuses in there. There's an automatic writing workshop that's going to teach you how to actually do automatic writing. So that's something that you can do from day one and continue to build on as you progress in your intuitive development. So you want to connect with your higher self. You want to connect with your spirit guides, right? Well, that's in there. You're going to learn how to do that. Like how people ask me all the time, how do I do automatic writing? Well, I have a video here. I'm going to show you how to do it. There's also a little mini course in there. Some people may have it already, but there's the whole mini course on how to connect with your spirit guide. There's videos on different crystals and what they do and how you can use them and apply them to your life. There's meditations. Like, you guys, there's a little bit of everything. And then the one thing that I don't really announce because it's kind of made available towards the middle end of the course, but there's a free coaching call in there too that comes with your package. Just so that we can check in, I can see where you're at, I can tap in with your guides and see like maybe if there's something you should or could be doing a little bit differently. And I'm trying to think, like there's so much in there. I'm trying to think of what else it has. And I haven't mentioned this yet. It'll be coming out in an email next week, but, next week. With any course, including this one that you purchase now through Black Friday. Sorry, I'm all over the place right now. Now through Black Friday, you're also getting my workshop. It's completely separate. You're getting my workshop for how to connect with source energy. It's brand new. I just released it on the site a couple of weeks ago. And so that's in there too. You're going to get that too. So you're literally getting a taste of everything with this course, but you're getting my best material. And it's almost as if, like, here's the only way that I can describe it. It's as if I am your coach and I'm sitting there just like this and I'm talking to you throughout the whole course. So it's not a whole bunch of written content. I don't even think there's hardly any written content. It's like I am your coach. We are talking. I'm working you through it. And then we do actually get to talk, right? Because we have the coaching call. And so it's the next best thing to buying a coaching package. And if you've done any coaching with me, you know that I refer to the course so often that it's almost like a prerequisite. I'm actually going to make it, like I had mentioned before, I'm shifting my coaching a little bit in the new year. I'm actually going to make it a prerequisite for coaching because it's foundational, but it goes all the way through advanced. Like I said, I have a lot of friends in the intuitive space that refer their students to me just because of the way that I teach and how I break it down. It helps you in so many different ways, in so many areas. So just wanted to let you guys know that if you've been thinking about doing coaching and you're kind of on the fence and you don't have the course yet, get the course. It's like having me as your coach. It's like me sitting in the room with you. Plus you get lifetime access. So you get to go back over the lessons as much as you want. And then you get any new material that I add as well for a lifetime. So, okay, And today, you guys, today is the last day to get it for the early bird price. I am doing a Black Friday sale, but it's not going to affect the price as it is today at all. It'll be a little bit more than it is today, actually, during the Black Friday sale. So just so you guys know. All right, now let's get on with it. We are talking about tapping into infinite possibilities today. So we went through, let's talk about beginning to end. We started talking about depression and anxiety and how the different ways that your intuition can manifest, and how it can affect your life. It can really hang heavy on your life at times if you don't have a firm grasp on it, right? So that said, we've talked about the depression and the anxiety of it, and then we moved into the fears that come up around exploring your intuition, be it being afraid of ghosts or being afraid of what people might think of you. And there's a whole lesson on that too for the coming out of the psychic closet. That's in the course as well. But there's a whole stigma around this is so woo-woo. And you guys, what I really try to do, my tagline since I started my website has been bringing spirituality back down to earth. Because when I was searching the internet and I was trying to find the end of the internet to find the answers to all of my problems, I was getting some really crazy out there stuff. I was just interviewed with a friend yesterday, and for a program that she's doing, and we were talking about that, about how, it's how when you start this and you're trying to go about it on your own, it can be so muddy, right? You're getting different types of information and it's just overwhelming, and then nothing's really working, and it can just be so much. And I was like, why can't someone just teach this and talk to me in a way that I'm going to understand? Because some of it would be way too far out there for me. I can't even tell you guys, just so far out there using terms. I didn't know what the heck they were talking about. And I'm like, this is too much. So I'd go to the next thing, and that was really dark, and that wasn't my vibe either. I had spent enough time in fear. So then I go to something else. It was just it was exhausting in itself trying to learn. And so that's what I'm trying to eliminate for you. But so we worked through fear yesterday, and then we talked a little bit about trust, how to trust your intuition, how to trust the universe is guiding you. And so that's why I can say that this is a course called the Intuitive Development Course, but it's not really about just your intuition. It's not just about becoming psychic or it's about changing your life and allowing yourself to flow with the universe. And so I believe that the way that we do that is by understanding who we are on a deeper level. The clairvoyance, the claircognizance, that's all a bonus side effect of figuring out who you are. But once you do, and once you learn that trust, everything will change for you. Literally everything will change. And that's what we're talking about today, how to tap into that infinite possibilities. What does change for you? And I know that I've mentioned it a little bit, but I feel the first 2 days for me were very heavy. The topics that we were talking about were very heavy, but I know that they're very needed, right? Especially in this season of life that we are all in together. But today I want to get lighter. I want to have fun. This shirt, I know it seems plain, a t-shirt, but this is my shirt that when I wear this shirt, I'm just a bubbly ball of energy and I feel great. I don't know what it is. I just really like the shirt and I feel great. So that's what we're going to do today. And that's exactly why I wore this shirt. Okay. So, and I know it seems silly, but it's all about energy, right? So I had to write everything down in the slides. I had to give bullets because there's just so much, and I will go on a whole tangent if I don't stay focused with how beautiful this can be and how this can change your life. So you just can't go back to where you were before you started, and you won't want to. Honestly, you will not want to either. And once you get a glimpse of the magic that you are and that you can tap into, who made the shirt? I don't know. I got it at some really, for me, I got it some really expensive, boutique surf shop or something. And it was one of those days where I was like, you know what? I am worthy of this and I am deserving of this. And so it's mine. So maybe that's why it has such good energy. Okay, so back to this. So when you get a glimpse of the magic that you are, you won't want to go back. You won't want to go back. And I talked about that yesterday, about how once you elevate and once you feel that guidance, once you feel that good vibration, when you do start to slip, you notice really quickly and you're much more flowy at getting yourself back on track, at realizing like, oh, this is not the vibe I want to be in. I'm not willing to stay here, but now I have the ability, now I have the tools to look at where these emotions are coming from, get to the root of them, and then choose to release them. Does that make sense, you guys? So what does change exactly? The way that you see people and the way that you see situations change. It just does. There's no way that it cannot change, because you start to see that the people that are struggling, the people that are hurting you, the people that are hurting others, they are hurting themselves. They're hurting inside. And you start to see, there's that saying, and this is so unprofessional, but there's that saying that the problem with being on this journey, or the problem with being overly empathic, is that you feel sorry for assholes too. And it's kind of the truth, because when you shift and change your vibration, you don't see that as this guy's being a complete jerk and he's ruining my day. You say, I'm not willing to let him ruin my day, and I actually can see his pain coming through at me. I can feel his insecurities coming out at me, and so I'm just going to send him love. I'm going to send him love, and I'm going to feel good about where I'm at, and I'm just going to keep it moving. And that's such a different, like, I can feel it in my body as I say it. Like, it's such a different vibration, and it's true. Like, it's so true. And I will never forget, and I must have known on a soul level that I was about to leave my job, and I didn't. Actually, I didn't know yet, like I hadn't given my notice or anything. And actually I do remember, like, I called my mentor, I had a call with my mentor, and I was like, I don't know what it is, but every day I'm walking into the wind and I feel like I'm going on this massive vacation. I have no vacation plan. I don't know what's going on. And she was like, Ashley, your soul is kind of having a funeral for a season of your life. So something really big is about to change. And then it was not long after that I realized, like, hey, I am leaving my job. But so those types of things happen when you start tapping into your intuition. Your soul speaks to you. It's like your soul, instead of your higher self being behind you now, your higher self is leading the way. And it's almost like you're living in a cartoon that's like, you can kind of see the future, but you can feel the future, but you can't see it yet. Does that make sense? Like, it hasn't manifested yet, but you can absolutely feel it. So that said, I remember I was in the midst of my awakening and I was doing all this work and I was finally getting on track, and I was working with my mentor, and I was finally, like, things were aligning up for me. And this girl, and she was one of my only friends at my old job, and she came in and she was just like, this person's doing this and this person's doing this, and they're like just ranting, where before I probably would have been like, oh my God, like, and fed into it. And I just remember sitting there, and it was like the most blissful moment for me. And I just looked at her and I was like, yeah, but I just don't care. Like, I just don't care anymore. And she was like, well, you better care. And it wasn't like I was saying, like, I just don't give a crap. It was like, this is not affecting me. Like, none of this is important. Like, the things that she was complaining about, like the people and their attitudes and how negative of an environment it was, like, it just didn't matter to me anymore. It didn't affect me. It couldn't affect me the way that it had before, because my vibration had changed so much. The way that I saw things had changed so much. And I felt that without a doubt, the things that were happening were just pushing me in the direction that I needed to go. I remember at one time too, like I told you guys, I was applying for all these jobs I was well overqualified for. And I went to my boss at the time, and there was a job making $40,000 more a year. Like, it was a really high paying job than I currently had. He told me I was qualified for it. He told me I could have it if I wanted to. And I was like, I talked to my husband about it. I talked to a couple of people about it, and they were like, obviously you need to go for that. And I was just thinking about it, and I was like, I would be so miserable. I would be so miserable in that job. I wouldn't like it. It's like, it was like plugging away, like data entry, doing presentations all day, creating presentations, which I love to do, but there was no creative, like I couldn't get creative with it, you know? And I just remember like talking to my boss, and I was like, I don't know if I want this. And he was like, honestly, I don't think that it's a good fit for you. And I was like, okay, but you're the one who told me to go after it. And he said, no, if you don't leave here and then come back in a new role, you will never be taken seriously. You're always going to be taken, they're always going to look at you in the position that you're in versus any position that you move into. And I've told that story to a lot of people, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that to you. I took that as my sign. I was like, okay, thank you. Like, I was so grateful in that moment, because honestly, he wasn't being mean to me. He was being honest with me. And I know that he was telling me the truth. I was so grateful for that moment, because that was kind of one of the more like the defining pushes that I need of like, this is not for you. Why do you keep trying to make something fit when you know that you're not an energetic match for it? Does that make sense, you guys? So I could have been making 6 figures a year, doing a job that I hated, and been in it just for the money. Or I could have listened to my heart, listened to where the universe was pushing me, doing what I love to do, helping people, serving people, providing tons of free stuff for people, and getting paid to do what I love, and getting paid to change people's lives. But it was a risk. It was a huge, huge, huge risk. But I was like, I trust the universe so much, and I trust what my soul is telling me so much that I'm going to follow this. And that was 4 years ago this month that I left, that I walked out the doors, and I never went back. And I never thought that that was even an option, because I knew without a doubt this is what I had to do. As crazy as it was to leave a very corporate job to be a psychic medium online, no less, like that was very risky, but I did it. And I did it because I trusted, and I did it because this is what will change for you. Everything will change for you. The way that you see people, the way that you see situations, the way that you see traffic. Like I think that's one of my bullet points too coming up if I haven't got there yet, but you will see everything differently. So like I said, I got off on a whole tangent. You will begin to see people as souls. You will see that they are on their own path, and anytime you come in contact with someone, they are your teacher. They're your teacher, or they're validating something for you. Or like there have been multiple times like that people have been rude. My family, I'm not going to name names, but my family, someone in my family just constantly feels that everyone is out to get him. And I said him. Everyone is out to get him. No matter what they are doing. If they are joking, if they are having a good time and he hears them laughing, he thinks it's about him. If somebody has more money than him, then they must be out to get him. Like just all of these little things. And when I started doing this work, I realized like, he's not really that big of a jerk. He's just in a lot of pain. He's in a lot of pain. He has a lot of insecurities, and that's coming out in everything that he does and in every interaction that he does. And he can't have a happy, fulfilled life because he's so worried about what everybody else is thinking about him. And really nobody's even concerned with him, right? And so you just move into where you hated, I don't even use the word hate anymore, but you might have hated somebody at one point, or hated a situation, or hated what happened to you. And you move into this space of forgiveness and thankfulness for that person, place, or situation because of what it has taught you, and you see how much you have grown from it. And that is why returning to our intuition is returning to who we are. And that's what makes it, that's how we begin to see it. That's how we become available for that shift in vibration, that shift in our life, is we allow ourselves to be guided, and we trust, and we do that through expanding our intuition. We do that through getting to know ourselves. You can't have one without the other, in my opinion, right? So again, it becomes hard to be angry because you will feel that weight in your body and you will want to release it. Like just even talking now badly about someone. Like I used to be a normal teenage 20-year-old girl. Like I talked about everybody. I judged people because I was judging myself. I felt threatened by people, so I felt like attacked by them, right? And I was that girl too. But now even being around a conversation where somebody's being talked about negatively, I feel like it's a psychic attack on them. I feel pain within my body and I'm like, oh, I just have to it feels grimy to me. It doesn't feel good within my body, right? And so even if I go there, because I'm still a human and some days I'll catch myself like this person did this or this, or like I'll feel it and I will stop myself right away because this is heaviness in my body. I don't want to feel this heaviness. I want to feel lightness. So I'm going to look at this. I'm going to see what the root of this is. I'm going to see how this is a mirror, how this is a teacher for me, and then I'm going to choose to let it go. And this all sounds like a lot of work, but once you start the process, once you tune into your higher self, you start working with your guides, you become available for that love and the breadcrumbs, as I called them yesterday, and the synchronicities, this all is on autopilot. You don't have to even think about it. You recognize it, you shift, and it's that quick sometimes. Sometimes it takes a day, sometimes it takes a week, but you recognize it and you move on. So and I guess that was my next point. It's you learn to process, heal, and forgive in a way that serves you and often the other person as well. And it's just natural. So people won't bother you so much. Traffic won't be such a big deal. You will begin to trust and you will see that everything is happening for you and not to you. And the thing is, it will finally click in. It will click in a way that you feel within your body and there will be a shift. Because I remember that saying, like, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. And I would just be like, bullshit, this is absolutely happening to me. I can see it happening to me, right? And so when you start doing this work and you step back, first of all, things aren't going to happen to you or for you in such a negative way as often because you won't need those lessons, right? Like things happen for us or to us so that we can learn a lesson, break a pattern, and move forward. The same thing, like you will find that you manifest people with similar traits, or I hear it all the time. I keep ending up in the same types of relationships, or I keep ending up in the same types of jobs, or I paid this bill off, and now there's another bill that followed it that I didn't even know about. Like it's a pattern, right? So once you recognize the pattern, you absorb the lesson, you can shift it, and then it stops showing up for you. That was one of mine. Like I always used to get these random medical bills. Like I would just get random medical bills all of the time. But like I said, I was also sick all of the time. And so I would get these bills and it was like I could never catch up. And when you are 22, I mean, even sometimes, depending on what it is, like $200-300 extra is a lot of money that you're not expecting, right? And when you keep getting those, you're like, what the F do I do to stop this? But then you focus on it and it becomes a cycle. So when you shift your mind and you decide, I'm just not available for this anymore. I'm not available to be sick anymore. I'm not available to keep getting these bills. I'm just not here for it. I'm not here for it. And then you actually change your mind, you actually shift, those things will stop. Like I don't get bills in the mail anymore, really. I get my normal house bills and that's pretty much it. I will get checks in the mail, random checks in the mail. Like nobody even sends checks anymore. And I'll get random checks in the mail for like refunds, or I overpaid on something that I didn't realize. Like that is what happens too. That's the magic. That's the good stuff. That's the unexpected stuff that happens. But it will click in, that feeling of it's not happening to me, it's happening for me. Because right now we're seeing from right here. We're seeing at eye level. We're seeing what is right in front of us. When you start tapping into your intuition, you start working with your guides and your higher self, and you start asking to be guided, you start seeing from up here. And you're looking down, and you can see the whole thing playing out as you're moving through it. And that's part of why life gets so much easier too. And another thing is you realize how connected you are to everything. And that feeling is a bliss that is indescribable. Like I cannot even explain it to you. the way that I felt when there was one meditation that I did that I must have unlocked something, because I came out of, and this is a funny story. So at the time of my awakening, at the time I'm doing all of this, I was breastfeeding. So I was at work, I was pumping, and I was like meditating while I was pumping. Like, you guys, there are no excuses. You can make this happen. There are no excuses. I used to pump and meditate, go on my lunch breaks, like run away to the park on my lunch breaks, like for 15 minutes. Like, there's no excuses. You can make time for yourself. So anyway, so I did this meditation, and I came out of my office, and everything just looked differently to me. Everything looked different. And I felt like I was at one with everything. I felt this incredible sense of oneness. And I knew that no one else was separate from me. I knew that we were all in this together. I knew that the trees were breathing. I could see the earth literally breathing. Like, it was just an incredible, undescribable feeling that I haven't lost. Like, sometimes I will feel like I'm in this alone, and all I have to do is step outside, take a breath of air, look up. And now, like, before, when I would look up, I see the sky. Now I look up and I seriously will see like orange and flickers of light and like just energy in the air, and then I'm reset, and I know that I am a part of everything. And so that's the only way. Bliss is the only way that I can describe it to you. It's a feeling that has to be felt, and it's usually felt through meditation. It's usually felt when your guides are around you. It's usually felt when you ask for help, you decide that you will be guided, you trust, and then it just comes in. Okay, I can't explain it. You've got to experience it. And this is how you experience it. You experience it by going deeper and deeper and deeper. And so you begin to realize that you are in flow with creation, and you can literally create your life. It takes a little bit of time, and you'll get better and better at it, and it gets easier and easier, but you realize, like, the vision board that you made, now your house looks like that. Like, that was me. The guy actually says it in The Secret too. Like, I think it was like 5 years for him, but I found, I packed all my stuff when I left the office, and it wasn't even that long ago that I like pulled out my vision board, and I was like, oh my gosh, without realizing it, we bought this house that it was like at the top of our budget, but at the very bottom of the neighborhood. Like, we shouldn't have been able to get this house. We had to gut the whole thing, and it looks just like this vision board. Like, just crazy things will happen. And the even cooler thing, so like this is a story of manifestation, but this really will help you guys see what shifts and changes I decided, so the year before we sold our other house, my realtor came over and she's like, you guys, it's just not worth it. Like, you're barely going to walk away with a couple $100 after closing costs and all that, because we hadn't lived there that long. But it wasn't where we wanted to be anymore. Like, I just didn't want to be out there. I wanted to be with my friends. I wanted to be next to the beach. And then I did this work. And then the next year I was like, Molly, can you please come back and look at the house? I want to sell the house. She's like, well, I don't know what happened. Like, the housing market isn't even that great, but looking at the comps, blah, blah, blah. We ended up making, I think like after the sale of the house and everything, we made like $30,000 off of the house or something. But here's the funny thing. I was like, I want to sell this house in a week. I had no house picked out at all. I knew where I wanted to be. I was told that it was too expensive. The area that I wanted to be in was too expensive. And I was like, no, I decide this is where I'm going to be. I decide I want to be in this neighborhood or this neighborhood. I want to be off of this main beach road, and I want to sell my house in a week. They thought I was crazy. My husband and my realtor thought I was crazy. We sold our house in 3 days, but then we had to move to my mom's because we didn't have a house, which was, I manifested that too. Big lessons there, right? Then I found the house that we're in now. My realtor didn't want to look at it. My husband didn't want to look at it, but I was like, no, we're going to look at it, because it said sold as is, way undercut for the neighborhood, no pictures. And we went, before I got out of my car, because I drove separately, I left my window cracked this much, and I spoke to the universe, and I said, if this is my house, when I come back, there will be a single leaf on my seat. So I walked in, I'm like, this is my house, but yeah, I want to like rip this down. I want to do this. I want to do this. The house looked nothing like what I had imagined, like what I wanted. I get back, there's a leaf on my seat. People had made higher offers than us, but the guy really liked us. They wanted a family, or he wanted a family living in the house. His wife had passed, like all of these things. And then we're in the house, we're renovating the house. My husband's like, can you run to the store and get whatever he needed? And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know how to get there. I wasn't very familiar with the neighborhood yet. And the one thing that I wanted that I didn't get was, I wanted to live off of the main beach road. So he's like, well, you just you go this way out of the neighborhood and then you hit the main beach road and then you're there. And I just started crying and he was like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, I didn't know we were off of this road. Like that was the one thing that wasn't checked off on my list. So do you see how you can literally co-create with the universe as you are in alignment with it, like as you're available for it, as you're available for the guidance? Like I told the universe, give me a leaf, and they gave me a leaf like within the hour that I was touring a house. It's just amazing the things that shift and change when you choose to do this work and show up for yourself, because that's really all it is, showing up for yourself. So you realize when you do this work that stress is just a word. It's just a word. Right now it's a feeling. Right now it's a thing within your body, living in your body, creating havoc within your body, creating dis-ease. And then you realize like stress is just a word, because you keep on remembering, and this is a visualization that I can do, feel free to adopt it. Anytime I start to feel stressed or unsupported, I will visualize doing a trust fall into the hands of the universe. Like I visualize these big hands and I visualize little old me just like bloop, falling right into the middle of the hands. And it's just a reset. It's a reminder for me. And it takes me out of stress and it reminds me that I'm in alignment with the universe. Like I said, we become so much more self-aware that we don't have to do a ton of work to get back into alignment. It's just like remembering the little things, seeing where we're at, being willing to be honest with ourselves about where we're at and where we want to be. Okay, so like I said, you begin manifesting things and you don't even know why. Like you begin manifesting things that you didn't even ask for, like free drinks, or like I said, I manifest checks in the mail. Like I get really random things all of the time. Things are always working out in my favor, but that's also one of my affirmations that I say all of the time. Everything always works out in my favor. Everything always works out in my favor. It's a way of reminding me to trust that everything's working out in my favor, no matter how the physical reality may seem. And then it's also just an affirmation to keep reminding me, to help me to believe that everything's working out in my favor. And then it does. It does. It's just so amazing. It really does. Okay, so I'm going to pause for a sip of water. You guys, I am pumped today. I don't know why. Like, I haven't had a lot of caffeine. I stopped and got one of these new teas, but I only took like 2 sips of it because I feel like I should save it for later if I do get tired. Like I got up, I did my meditation, I went to the gym, I saw some old friends that I've known since middle school, talked to them. Like it's just been a really good morning. And so I'm super excited to be here with you guys. So another good thing and another way you'll tap into like infinite possibilities is you're going to start surprising yourself. It's inevitable that you start to manifest naturally. Like I said, the universe sees you and wholly wants to support you. The universe wants to support you. But like I said yesterday about fear, is that when we are not a vibrational match for the things that we want, we attract the things that we don't want. And when we aren't calling in our guides and telling them that we want their help and asking for them to guide us and support us, they kind of hang back. So when you start doing this work, you realize that the universe is out there. It's supporting you. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I'm doing this launch. A friend of mine is doing hers, and she asked me to be an expert. Like she's doing coaching and asked me to come in on her coaching calls with her, to be an expert, to help consult her clients. Like that blew my mind. That's not something that I had ever even considered. Like, you wouldn't think that another coach who teaches something similar to you, but she does it in much different ways, would ask you, like, hey, do you want to help me with my clients? Like, it's just so beautiful the way that these things work out, right? It's just so beautiful. So the universe is always supporting you. As long as you are a vibrational match, you are available and willing to be guided, you will be led. Oh, and I just thought of something. Like, this is kind of goes back to the manifesting thing. But on my vision board for the past couple of years, some of you may have already heard this story. On my vision board for the past couple of years, I've had a white SUV on there. And I bought my car. It was like brand new when I bought it. I was 19 or 20. It's been paid off for a long time. And I was like, there's no reason for me to get rid of this car. My husband's like, you have 2 kids. You need to get rid of a tiny little Civic. Like, this is not what, and I'm like, no, I love her. She's great. I've never had any problems. And so I had my mindset on a very specific car that I wanted. And he's like, I don't want that car. We're not getting that. And I'm like, well, fine. Like, I'm stubborn. And I'm like, well, I get what I want. So I guess we're not getting a new car. So he then finds another car that has everything that I want that I had never even heard of before. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's my car. It looks just like this car, but it's a different car. It's a great compromise. And that he had been trying to sell my car because I was like, if you can sell it, then like whatever. But he kept having people look at the car. Nobody was buying. And they were all like men or like they were just too big for the car. Like, I don't know. They just didn't fit the car. It was a cute girl's car, right? And so when he showed me the car that he wanted to buy, I became an energetic match. And I was like, yeah, this is the one. Like, it was not the same one on my vision board, but it was still, I was like, we need it white. And it needs to look like this, and it needs to have these features and blah, blah, blah. And that's the only way that I'm willing. He's like, all right, cool. So we got in alignment. That day, I journaled in my manifestation journal about me selling the car to a girl between 17 and 19 years old. It was her first car, and how she felt and how excited I was to give her the keys. And I visualized writing her a letter about all of the things that it meant for me and how I hoped she took it on road trips and how I hoped it was her big first purchase like it was mine, and all of these things. And do you guys, within 24 hours, we got an offer, full price on my car. We sold the car, and we went and bought our new car, and the payment came in less than what I was wanting to pay per month. So like, these things just happen when we allow them to happen, but we've got to decide. We've got to become an energetic match. And I will be so cheesy as to tell you, though I didn't go to sell her the car, my husband did, I did write her a letter. And I did tell her all the experiences that I had in the car and how proud of her I was, and that I hoped that she enjoyed it and took it on road trips and everything. And so that's like, I just wanted to put that energy in there. So, synchronicity, manifestation, you are supported and it will be there. And that's why I say, like, this isn't just about your intuition. It is, because you've got to tap into your intuition. You've got to become a vibrational match. You've got to meet yourself. But it's just about being who you are, being unapologetic about who you are, so that you can flow with life, so that you can be a vibrational match for all of the things and help and guidance that's available to you. So you'll notice that synchronicity is everywhere. You'll notice that things magically seem to work out for you. And one of my favorite things, the reason that I started this whole process in the first place, is that one day you will notice that you have just become a happy person. That you're just one of those joyful people for no reason, that you smile at people even if they're not smiling back. You will notice that you are one of those happy people. And it just happened. It happened because you showed up for yourself. And that's what put me on this journey, and that is what has changed my life ever since. Like, I have my days. I'm still a human. I'm like everyone else, but I am a happy person. I do choose to see the good in people still. And actually, was it last month? I don't know. I think it was in October. I just for some reason went to like Wawa to get a sandwich, which is not something that I ever do, but I was working, I was really in flow and I needed some food. So I like went to Wawa to get a sandwich, and this guy walked past me. He had like this crazy hair. I wasn't sure if he was homeless or not. I don't think he was, because I saw him running a couple days later, which was interesting. But he just walks up to me and he's like, "Thank you." And I was like, "For what?" And he's like, "No, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you because you are a kind person. You are a loving person." And he said something about like my energy and how I smiled at him, and you could tell I was smiling through my mask, and he wasn't wearing a mask. And he was like, "And I just want to thank you for being a kind person." And he asked if he could shake my hand, and so I did. And like, I was smiling, the cashier was smiling, the people making the sandwiches were smiling. Like, it was such a good vibe, and he had such a good vibe. And then he did ask me for a hug, and I was kind of like, ooh, because I didn't know. Like, I just didn't know. But he was like, "I understand, we're in a pandemic and I'm not wearing a mask." Like, it was totally like it was just a good thing. But those are the things that changes. Your whole energy will change. Your whole energy will be felt by people. And I had the best day that day. And then I still have like my days, like Monday, like I told you guys, when they canceled school, I was just like, why? Like I was a little frustrated. But then within an hour, I was like, okay, what is this trying to teach me? What is my lesson here? Is this trying to derail me this week? Like, is this asking me to show how committed I am to still showing up for this training that I have scheduled for people, and figure out a workaround and show myself how strong that I am? Like, yeah, that's what it's been trying to teach me. And yesterday, like my son came in a few times, but it was fine. If that had happened and I wasn't willing to see the lesson in it, the way that it was helping me grow, then I would be frustrated and mad and like all flustered. And I feel like, honestly, I handled it pretty well yesterday, considering, right? So you will just become one of those happy people. You will shift, you will change. It won't be a whole big thing. And even when it is, it won't last as long. And then one day, all right, I'm just gonna read this to you guys because I wrote it and I was like tearing up while I wrote it. So I'm just gonna read it to you guys. So one day it's gonna hit you. It's just gonna randomly hit you. You will cry. You will cry. You might just be driving along and you will see, like, you'll realize, like, I'm just joyful. I'm joyful for no other reason than that I am. You will feel loved. You will feel supported. You will feel guided. And in a single moment, in that moment, you're going to realize that all of the work that you've been doing, the intuitive work, the personal work, the self-development work, has made you into an entirely new person than you were a couple months before. Like, an entirely new person. You will realize that you are someone who loves and enjoys their life for no other reason that you get to experience it with the people that you get to, even the challenging people. You will be grateful that you're here in this life on this planet during these corona times as a way of strengthening you, as a way like of showing you how you can help and support and be a light for others. Like, there may not be one thing, you guys, but there's going to be a definitive moment where you're driving, or you're just being, or you're just in the energy of doing whatever you're doing, something mundane usually, and then you're gonna say, holy crap, I did it. I made it. I'm here. I was back here. I was down here. And little by little, showing up every day, showing up a couple times a week, just being aware, now I am here. Now I am here. I am someone new. I am someone that the old me wouldn't even recognize. And that was something that was huge for me, because we will have those moments, right? As we're awakening, as we're shifting and changing, where we don't recognize ourselves. And that can be confusing. And that's about awakening. And I think I just put a video in there. I think there is a talk about that in the new videos in the course. But there will be moments where you're like, I don't even know who I am. Like, I don't even like the things that I used to like. I don't want to be around the same people. I don't want to talk about the same things. Like, I don't even recognize myself. But you will love who you're becoming, and you will feel, like I said, you will feel that for the first time, you're where you're supposed to be. For the first time, though you don't recognize yourself, you honor her and appreciate him or her. and support that person and believe in that person, you can see where they are going. And so you won't want to go back. And there will be people in your life that are used to being able to walk all over you. There will be people in your life that are, I remember when I first started setting my personal boundaries, my mom called me and we were talking about something, and somehow it came up that like I was going to take some me time, and I had a baby, brand new baby at the time. And she's like, well, that's selfish. You're a mom. You don't get to do that. And I was just like, that was one of the moments where it clicked for me. I was like, yes, I do. If I'm not good, then I'm not going to be good for him or for my husband or for my job or anybody else. And it's not selfish. And I think that as women, this is something that we get to work on. And then there were times, if people needed me, and I was always the yes person. Because like I said, I was a people pleaser without realizing it. That I was like, no, I'm sorry, I can't. Like in a loving and supportive way, you find out that people are triggered by your changing because it makes them uncomfortable, because they're not ready for it. They're not ready to change. And the changes within you sometimes hold up a mirror to them, even unintentionally. But you've got to stick with it, because you will be a much happier person on the other side of it. You will be someone that loves and enjoys their life, and you will see the magic and you will feel the transformation. And eventually those people either catch up to you or they fall out and make space for new people to come in. And that is partially what happened to me too. And even with like my mom and my family, like now my mom is like, she doesn't call me selfish anymore. One, because I'm just not available for that. That's one of my boundaries I set with spirit. Like I'm not available to people talking poorly about me. Like I'm just not, because it's not the truth. It's not the ultimate truth. It's not my truth. And so it just kind of stops happening, right? And you say, I'm not available for these types of interaction. And when you believe them and you're really saying it to yourself, those interactions stop to happen. Or they happen differently. But even now, my mom is like, when I say something, like when she's telling me about her bad day, and then I'll just be like, well, what's a good thing that happened to you today? She's like, huh, like, I'm so glad you're you. Like she'll shift. She'll shift because I'm not available to be sitting in a negative energy. And so my energy will help shift other people's energies without having to do anything. And that's what will happen to you too, because you will become a happier, more joyful person. Naturally. Okay. So when that day comes, and you notice that you've changed, you notice that you're a different person, you will also notice that maybe if you were someone who had anxiety, your anxiety has been gone for days or weeks or months. Like it just kind of dissolved. It dissolved because you shifted and changed and you got in touch with who you really are. You'll notice that other people's fears and lack mindsets no longer affect you how they used to. Like it used to be so easy for someone to be fearful around me and for me to be pulled down into that, or to someone to be negative around me and for me to be pulled down into that. That just doesn't happen anymore. Like earlier, actually, my husband was, we're talking about Thanksgiving, and my husband was reading me a text from someone, and he got like halfway through it, and I was like, just stop. Like I can't even listen to it anymore, because I could feel the energy and the fear and the scarcity like coming from that text. And I was like, I just don't, it's okay. And then it was funny because the things that he said in reply were things that I would say. So like the people around you start to understand and flow with your energy. Like you plant seeds without having to, like without having to preach, right? So you just being you being in the vibration that you are, helps to shift other people just by being around your energy without you having to absorb the energy that doesn't serve you. Okay, so you also will find that you can't be guilted into things that you aren't in alignment with. Like that was a huge story for me. Like throughout my whole life was my family really liked to use guilt as a tactic to get what they wanted. And so that has like always been a thing for me. Like if I feel bad, or if I think somebody else feels bad, I'll feel guilty, and then I'll roll into whatever it is that they want to do or want me to do. And you start to feel good about your personal boundaries. You know what's for your best and highest good, and you can see too how you setting boundaries, how you setting limitations, or how you even like people, with their kids at home and things right now, like you delegating things is for not only your best and highest good, but for the best and highest good of other people too, making them stand on their own two feet, not like enabling them and, you know, teaching them how to be a little bit more independent. And that's something that I'm really proud of that I've done. When I was setting my boundaries, I kind of showed other people around me how to be more independent and even set their own boundaries. You can set boundaries in a loving way where you're not being mean or hurtful. You will find that toxic relationships begin to fall away and new connections that serve your new vibration will be formed. You become one of those people that just go with the flow. So I used to be, and I'm very organized. I'm organized, and it comes from my corporate background, and I'm grateful for it because I don't think that I could run, you know, a blog and a business and coaching and a family and do all of the things if I wasn't organized and self-disciplined. So I do have that, but something that I also do because of those things is I can be a little hard on myself, and it takes like my husband or a friend or somebody else being like, Ashley, you're so hard on yourself. And I'm like, you're right. And so I will do the work around that. Like, what belief inside of me is telling me that I'm not good enough or that I have to push myself or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, I have become someone that is very go with the flow, where I used to really stress about things. I used to need a whole plan. I used to need to know like the steps to everything. I used to like get really bent out of shape if something didn't go the way that it was supposed to go, especially when it comes to work, when I was in like an office setting, and I would just get really bent up and like out of shape about things. And so with this work that you're doing on yourself and the intuitive work that you do and the work with your guides, and when you realize you're supported and all the things that we've already talked about, you become one of those people that's just like, oh, okay, let's just go with the flow. Like now, I don't even love making plans. I'm like, if I make plans like 3 or 4 days out, I don't know how my energy is going to be that day. Like maybe I should just kind of like, let's just check in on the day that we're supposed to do something. Like that's more where I'm at now. And that feels better to me because something may be a full body yes one day, and then you may have a couple of bad days and it may be a full body no the next day. And you don't want to feel guilty for that. So you learn to set your boundaries. You learn more to go with the flow. You learn more to just listen to your intuition. You learn to listen to your body. You learn to listen to where you are being guided and where you are going. Right? So you become one of those go with the flow people. As you do the intuitive work, as you open up your clairvoyance and your cognizance and all of that, your dreams become more vivid. You get the guidance that you want, that you need, that you can trust, that supports you. You start to realize when people are telling you the truth and when they are not, right? So you start to feel like maybe they're telling you a story and you can feel the true parts, you can feel the not true parts, but also you meet somebody and you're like, you realize that you're not judging them, but you're picking up on their energy, and you will be able to tell the difference. And that's something that's in the course as well. Like, how do I know if I'm judging somebody, or how do I know if they're not an energetic match for me? You just will start to intuitively know those things. So, and maybe for the first time ever, this was true for me, and this has been true for many, many, many of my clients. You will know who you are. Like I said, I met myself for the first time. And I think maybe when I was like 13, 14, I was aware of who I was and who, yeah, your BS meter is on point, yes. I was aware of who I was and what I really liked, and I was unapologetic about it. As in, like, you guys would not even recognize me. Like, I was totally a scene kid, like, went to shows multiple times a week, listened to, like, screamo music that I can't even listen to now because I'm like, oh, God. And then I feel really old for not being able to listen to it, but that's besides the point. But I used to go to, like, these concerts all the time, and I still love a concert because I feel like there is a unity there. Like when you're with all of these people and you're all there for the same reason, you're all feeling the good vibes and you're just all in alignment and the music speaks to you. Like I'm still all about music. I still love it. but I feel like then, like, I probably knew who I was, but I was also trying to find myself and where I fit in with people, right? And then I also, like I said, I was a little rebellious. I knew that my parents hated my music, and I knew that they hated some of the clothes that I wore, so I would like amp that up, even if it didn't feel good to me, just to kind of like stick it to the man, I guess. I don't know. But, you know, like that may have been the time where I was finding myself. And those things from that era of my life, they still stick with me. But there's also a lot of pain in that area of my life that I've had to work through. But when I started doing the work that I do now, the intuitive work and the work to get happy, I truly felt that I could be unapologetic for who I was. And like, I didn't care if people didn't like my clothes. And this is in my 20s now. I didn't care if people didn't like my clothes. I didn't care if people didn't like what I had to say. I was being kind. I was being kind to myself. I was being kind to others. I was being authentic. I was being unapologetic. And that's all that mattered to me. And I truly felt that I knew myself. And I've said this before, but like, there was a moment where, you know, like my, where I was like really into this, and we're renovating the house and everything, and we're stuck in traffic, and my husband's like, this is weird. Like, this is weird. They don't give you a book on what to do when your wife talks to dead people. And it broke my heart. Like, it really did. But at the same time, I'm so grateful for that moment, because it really showed me, it just like came out of my mouth, and I was like, well, you know, like, this is who I am, and this is who I've always been. I'm just finally realizing who I am. I'm finally comfortable, and I'm not going backwards to make you or anybody else more comfortable. So like, you can come with me or you cannot. And then I just got really scared, and I was like, please come with me. Please come with me. Like, I love you. Please come with me. And then, you know, like, I think it shifted for him too, because he saw like, this is who I am. And he's like, well, it's just going to take me some time. Like, it's taken you a lot of time to figure out who you are. And so it's going to take me some time too. And now he's my biggest supporter. Like, he is the one who, when I told him I wanted to leave my job, he's like, all right, like, we're going to figure it out. And then when I got nervous, when I left my job in November, not thinking about, you know, Christmas and everything coming up, and I was like, maybe I should get a second job. And he was like, no, I think you should just focus on this and go all in. And like I said, now, like, my vibration has changed so much that when I do start to slip and I'm not seeing it, he will be the first one to be like, maybe you should go meditate or something. So like, people, if they love you, if they're supposed to be in your life, if they are a vibrational match for you, they will come around. I also had some very toxic friends in my life at the time that I started doing this work, and they didn't know what I was doing, but they just kind of fell out of my life, and I couldn't see until I worked through everything how they should have fought. They should have been out of my life a long time before that, but the universe did it for me, and then brought in a new group of people that are like my family to this day. Like, I made space for those people to come in. These are the people that I do holidays with. These are the people that we've raised our kids with, you know? So everything does shift and move and change for you, and it's not nearly as woo-woo as you think it is. It's just getting into alignment with who you are, being available for the guidance that's coming in, and then everything just has a way of working out for you. So it will hit you guys. It will hit you hard. It will make you cry. It will make you laugh. It will make you feel like an insane person for a split second, but you'll realize that all of the work that you have done has brought you home. All of the work of, you know, looking at these layers, doing the meditations, working through your chakras, learning about clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, like, they're different pieces of the ultimate puzzle that is you, that brings you back home. Okay? So you might smile, you might dance, but you will feel a sense of freedom like you have never felt in your entire life, because you're not holding on about who you need to be, or, you know, this or that. And something that I've always done, even when I had an alias, because I was like super nervous to be seen when I first started my blog, something that I've always done, and I hope that you can feel it through my writing, and if you've had calls with me, I hope that you can feel it, is I am the same person here with my family that I am on my blog, that I am with you, that I am in the streets, in these streets out here. That's who I am. I am always the same person. I don't have a persona that I put up, because it's energy, and who you get, like who you see on the blog is who you're going to get on the phone, because how else am I going to develop a trust with you? Like, you need to know who I am. Energy is felt. And so sometimes I'm inappropriate. Sometimes I'm unprofessional, but that's just who I am. Like, I'm not painting a picture to be some perfect person. Like, I don't have a studio set up in here or anything like that. Like, I get on, I do the damn thing. I know that what I'm saying is supportive for you. And I know that if you implement it, it will change your life. And that's my job. That's what I'm supposed to do. And the same thing comes through on my blogs. So you really do just set yourself free. Like, you just set yourself free. The only time that I have been insecure, so I used to be really insecure, right? Like, I think a lot of girls, women are, men too, but I used to be really insecure. When I started doing this work, I had more confidence than I had ever had. The last time I was really insecure was like after the birth of my second daughter, or my second kid. And, you know, that was just like going through some body stuff. And then I just kind of made the decision. I was like, yeah, this doesn't get to affect me. Like, I just get to be who I want to be. And so I'm going to get healthy, and I'm going to, you know, start doing yoga again and start working out again. And it just, you set yourself free. That's the only way I can say it. So, okay, let's see what else we got here. So, why do you feel free? Besides the fact that you begin to accept yourself, why do you feel free? Because your intuition isn't about connecting to spirit. It's about connecting to who you have always been at your core. It's your true nature. It is your spirit. And as you allow yourself to connect with your spirit, obviously you're going to be connected with the rest of them up there. Like, you are a spirit. You're just here in a physical body having this experience. So your intuition, mediumship, like being a psychic, like honestly, you guys, I'm going to say this. I probably never even said this before. Definitely not out loud. I don't like the word psychic. I don't like the word psychic. I don't even love the word medium. Like, I know that's probably not what I should say, since that's my whole like business, and that's how I have to like write it for people to understand what the hell that I'm talking about. But it's just intuition. It's just being you. It's just returning to your spirit so that you can pick up the energy that, or read other people's energy. If you're choosing to do this, you know, like readings and all of that, you're reading their energy. You're just connecting with their spirit. That's all it is. It's spirit meeting spirit, right? It's spirit connecting with spirit. That's why I don't really love the labels, because then it says like, well, is a psychic better than a medium? Or like, if this person reads this way, are they better and more accurate than this person? No, they're all equally as important. We all have a job to do here. We all are here to share our own unique light and experience and give our messages the way that we are meant to the people that will be receptive to them. Not everybody's going to be receptive to me. Not everybody's going to be receptive to, you know, this person or that person. And that's why we find our teachers. We align with who we need, who's going to be a vibrational match for our soul, who's going to help us elevate. And so, you know, I don't know if I just like made anybody uncomfortable by saying like, I don't love those terms, but I don't love those terms because when I tapped in, I said, what is mediumship for? Because I was giving all these readings and they felt very superficial. And like, I was still giving the readings and they still, you know, they made sense, they were accurate, but they felt superficial. Like the questions that people were asking me, how do I say this in a nice way? I was grateful for the work that I was doing, but people were asking me questions about their lives and then they weren't taking the advice. That's how I mean it. Like I'm channeling all of this sacred advice, but they wanted to hear what they wanted to hear. And that's why it felt superficial to me. Does that make sense? And so I felt like, why am I doing this? Like, this is very sacred work to me. Why am I doing this? What is mediumship? And I have a blog all about it. And they said, clear as day, mediumship is about healing yourself first and then choosing to help others heal should they want to. And so that's when I decided, like, I'm still available for, like, I love the love questions. I love the money questions. I love those questions. But I also want to know that I'm going to help somebody shift and change themselves so that they can get to that next level of abundance, so that they can shift and clear blocks out within themselves so that they can find their soulmate partner. Like, that's the work that I want to do. I love the questions, but what's beneath that? How can I help people beneath that? How can I help people get there? And so that's why this work is very sacred to me. And that's why it's not just about learning to be psychic. It's learning about being yourself, like returning to yourself, returning to your home, and everything else just flows after it. Okay. I feel like I just went on a rant. So this is what pulls you from dark to light. Your intuition, returning home, it pulls you from that darkness, that unknown within yourself, that depression, that anxiety. It pulls you from there into the light. Literally. Intuitive and self-development work is what pulls you from depression, illness, sadness, because it reconnects you to your higher self, like we talked about yesterday. Through her, through spirit, everything is available to you. It's not that you have to learn to have psychic gifts or mediumship. It's giving yourself permission to be who you are, at your core. And I've already said a lot of this, but I guess I had bullets for it too, so I'll make sure I didn't forget anything. When you ask to be shown the way home, so the way home, through the light, that is what your intuition is for. Your intuition guides you, gives you the steps to go home, to show you. And so when you ask your guides to come in, when you ask for the spirit or for the universe to guide you, and you're not yet receiving those signs, those synchronicities, those are going to show you your way. You may still be in a somewhat low vibration, but your willingness to get to the higher vibration is how your spirit team is going to work through you. Does that make sense? So you realize that this work changes your mind, literally changes your mind, changes the programs within your mind. You realize that you returned home. You realize that you've tapped into all that ever was. And that's a whole thing. Like I said, I walked out of the office that day and I felt like I saw things differently. I saw colors differently. I saw people differently. But really, all I did was pull this screen off that had been in front of me, right? To see now my actual truths instead of the truths that were being told to me. Like, this person is bad, or this situation is bad, or if you do this, you're bad. I pulled it off. I pulled the film off, or I pulled the screen off, and I saw no, it's all connected. We're all different cells of the same body. We all have a job to do. So depression is just simply a side effect of being disconnected from the light and spirit that is the true you. And I say this, again, I'm not a doctor, but when we look at depression and being someone that did take medicine for it multiple times throughout their life, was masking the symptoms, and then it would cause other symptoms. And no one was ever helping me get to the root cause of, where is this coming from? Yes, I knew part of it was coming from family, from the way that I was raised, from the way that people talked around me, in my mind. So I did know that I had to change my mind. I had to change those programs. I had to change those beliefs. But nobody talks about how it's a separation from ourselves, from trying to, like I talked about yesterday, fit a piece of big, huge slime, purpley, glittery slime into a tiny little spot where regular Play-Doh would be, right? There's so much more that we try to conform to, and of course that's going to make us feel out of alignment. Of course that's going to make us sad. Of course it's going to make us tired and make us feel pressure, and gosh, guys, we're so hard on ourselves. Okay, you guys, so this is the work. This is the work that will pull you from darkness to light. This is your way home. Learning to tap into your intuition, learning to work with your guides, learning to work with your higher self. This is everything. I think everyone needs this. I wish more people would just be willing to be what do I need right now? Where are my spirit guides? Do I have spirit guides? Like, I wish more people would just be available for it, because it's such a life-changing experience just to realize, like, yeah, I'm an empath, and yeah, I pick up other people's stuff. What do I do with that instead of holding on to it? Or, yeah, I keep having these psychic experiences, but why can't I have them consistently? Or why are they always scary? Life doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be bad. Life is so effing beautiful on this side. I'm so grateful to have had both sides of it too, because I can see and relate to the people that are like, things always go wrong for me, nothing ever works out for me. Like, yeah, it's easy for you because you've done it. It wasn't easy for me. I'm not telling you that any of this is easy, but I have done it. I have done it, so I can tell you what it's like to be so low that you don't even want to be on the physical plane anymore, and then to be so high that you can feel the spiritual plane and feel grateful to be a part of all that's happening around you. So you guys, today is the last day to grab this at the price that it's at right now. It's going back up tomorrow. This course will support you. It will help you make all of the changes that we talked about in these 3 days together, and it will eliminate a lot of your fears. And again, it's like, I'm here with you just like this. They're videos. I'm talking to you just like this. It's like you have me in your home. You have me as your coach. That's what this is. I want to help you change. I want to help you get home. I want to help you feel this feeling that I have, that so many people have transformed into in these times where we desperately need it, where people are desperately clinging on to life as they know it, but life as we know it is shifting and changing. So we've got to learn how to flow. We've got to learn how to stay in our light no matter what is happening around us, right? So, okay, I'm going to look at any questions. Let's see, what time is it? I'm available for any questions that you guys might have right now. I have a couple of minutes, so let me know. Let's see. Wait just a second. All right, you guys, I'm gonna post the link so you guys can grab this today. Maybe, I don't know why I always have such a trouble. Facebook is not my thing. It's just not really my thing. I always, okay, here we go. All right, I'm gonna post the link here, you guys, so that you can grab it. Again, I would totally recommend getting it today. You guys can also set up a payment plan, and the sale is included with the payment plan through today as well. So let's see what we got. Lauren, I'm glad you're doing good. Thank you, Dee Dee. Yes, me and Dee Dee have done a lot of coaching calls, and she's the one that I was telling you guys about the other day. She did my Rise and Shine package, which is still available. It's like a deep dive, healing, transformational package. And she has just, she's a star student, I will tell you that. We've had so many breakthroughs. And she says she watched the new video within the course about coming out of the psychic closet, and she loved it. Having a broader perspective has helped me tremendously with my folks visiting and living in my house. Yeah, absolutely. It's like, I think when we just can look from above, and that's actually an exercise that I do. Like, if things are getting too tough, and I've even done it like energetically, I've checked in, you know, like to kind of get like a read for the world. And I usually do a reading in January or December each year, just like an energy reading for the year. And that is still on my site, and it actually mentions a lot of what's going on right now. Like when I went back and read it, I was just like, oh my gosh, holy moly, like we didn't see that coming, but here it was right here. But when we choose to look above, we can just see from a higher perspective. Oh, thank you, Maria. Maria says you're so brave. Thank you. It was so scary, you guys. Like, I remember when I started my blog, I was using an alias. It was so silly. And then I felt like if I wanted to go to the next level, I needed to be seen. And what does that look like? So I like posted my picture on my site, and my heart was like, and then I made a Facebook page, and then eventually I made an Instagram, and it was just like every time I took another step, my heart would pound. And now where I'm at today is my friend, like I told you, that I saw in the gym, he's like, hey, I want to set up one of those calls with you. And he's like a really funny guy. And I was like, don't set up a call with me if you're not going to take this seriously. Like that's straight up what I said. And I was like, so you know what I do? And he's like, yeah, I've known what you do for like 5 years. And before had that happened, I would have been like, oh my God, people see me, people know. And now I'm just like, okay, but you better be serious if you're going to show up for this call or don't make the session. Like that's where I am with him, because he's talking about, he's like, what's my, what's my body fat going to be? And I'm like, that is not what we're here for, sir. Thank you. But he is setting up he did set up the call. So I'm excited. It's just funny, like to look at where I was. So that was probably like 5 years ago, right? That I started the blog, close to it. And then I left my job 4 years ago, and I still wasn't really available to be seen like this until like a year ago. And now I'm just like, it is what it is. I have to show up. And that was actually what pushed me. I want to say the beginning of Corona really pushed me to show up visually, because I wanted to be a light so bad that I had to, people have been asking me for years to do Facebook Lives and things like this. And I was like, no, I don't want to. And then I was like, all right, what is my next step? Like, how can I help people? How can I serve more people? And that's when I got pushed to do the Facebook Lives. Like I was kind of like, oh, okay, I'll rip the Band-Aid off. And I felt so awkward. But I did it because I knew that people needed the guidance and the support through these times. And now I'm just like, oh, this is so much easier sometimes to just get on here with you guys. And it's so much more fun. And I feel like I have a community. Maria says, I'm so embarrassed to say I'm one of those people. I'm trying, but there has been so much negative that I can't enjoy the good. I get it, Maria. Like I said, I was one of those people too. I know a lot of people that are like that. And there's no shame in that. You see it. Do you know how many people don't even see it? So many people don't even see that that's their vibration, that that's where they are. And they're like, no, it's everyone else. It's everyone else. And even if you are still saying it's everyone else, you at least see that there is a shift that is ready to be made, right? And so that's huge. That's so huge. Like it's called self-awareness. And you'd be surprised at the amount of people that don't have or aren't willing to have self-awareness. So you've already taken a massive first step, okay? So don't be so hard on yourself. Pat yourself on the back. We've talked before. I know that you're an amazing mom. I know that you're working really hard at this. I think, like I said before, I think you might benefit by working together. And if you're not sure how I can help you, Dee Dee would be a good person to talk to, because if she's willing, if it's okay with you, Dee Dee, like send her a message, because she can talk to you about the transformation that happens. And I have a bunch of other students, they're just not on here. But I think Carrie, I think we've worked together. There's a few people on here that I've done coaching with that can tell you the shifts that can happen just by working one-on-one with me and your guides. Carrie says, we would say that bad things happen in 3 and expect it to. Crazy to me now. Right? I know exactly what you're talking about. Now I'm like, it stops here. Nope, no more. What is this trying to show me? And then we can shift it, right? And when things do happen now, it's like, that's so interesting. How can I benefit from this? Like when you change the energy around it, it changes. The situation changes. Through this work, Ashley is sharing, and the progress she is describing has transformed me. I've done lots of layers therapy that got me only so far. This type of work was life-changing. I really appreciate that, and I can actually relate to you, because when I had my reading and when I was working with my mentor and when I was doing, like the beginning stages of this work, and like I said, it's not so beginning because I return back to it all the time. It is what changed my life. It is the only thing that changed my life. And I went to, I'm not discrediting therapy at all, but I did go to therapy and nothing had changed for me. What changed for me was being willing to look at myself, going through these layers, right? And then seeing myself from a different perspective. And, it really is life-changing, because the thing is, when we're working with our guides and our higher self, they're going to give us a different perspective that a therapist that nobody else can see, because they're not tapping into that all of that energy, all of that guidance that's available to us or to them. And so I love, like, my favorite thing is like intuitive coaches, spiritual therapists. Like, there are things like that, because that's where they're taking the life coaching experience, or we're taking the life coaching experience and then the spiritual guidance, and you're getting an overall thing. And so, like, I've heard before, like, my mentor used to say that one reading, and now I look at it as more as like coaching and just connecting with spirit, can be more effective than like a whole year worth of therapy. And I could see that in my own life, and I believe that simply because of the way that they bring things in, the way that they show us the different blocks and things. Oh, thank you, Carrie. And yeah, so we do make other people happy through our own joy. It's just, so here's something I haven't talked about, but I have talked about it on the blog and site and stuff. But our energy, you know, like, think of our energy like this, like our energy extends out around us. Everything is energy. Energy is everywhere. And it overlaps with other people. And so that's exactly why, like, a negative person can bring down a room because their energy is so big and it's so heavy and it's so negative. A joyful person can do the same thing, right? Can neutralize the room. But just the joyful people, the empathic people, have to be careful to protect their energy so that it's not sucked from them, but instead helping to neutralize the energy around. I love and admire that so much. I want to get rid of all of my personas. Aw, Francesca, you will, you will, and you'll be great at it, and you'll keep getting better and better at it as you go, right? And it's just, when you dig deeper, you realize, like, all of our stuff, all of our personas, I like that word, came from what somebody else told us that we were or should be, and we just believe them. So all we're doing is changing our mind again, digging deeper, going in there with our spirit team and saying, like, who am I? Who am I as a soul? And I keep getting this image of, like, my solar plexus, because, like, that is the seed to our soul. Like, who am I in there? Who am I? Who do I want to be? Who do I desire to be? What am I available for? And that's how we transform it. Like, no, like, one of my big stories was like, oh, I'm selfish, or oh, I'm this. Not any of those things. I'm really not. So we get to shift that by changing our minds. Maria said, this resonates with me. Thank you. Actually, I want to cry. Girl, cry. That's another thing. Cry, guys. Let it out. Like, you know, and if there's any men on here, I don't want to offend you, but this is a scientific study that I read a long time ago. Men get so angry. Like, they get so angry, and they can be more like physically angry, or just that energy, that anger energy comes out because they don't cry. When we cry, we release cortisol. When we cry, we are literally releasing the stress hormone. And so if you're holding that in, of course, your body is naturally going to respond. Like, I can feel it as I'm saying it. But like I have done that before too. And I'm like, no, if I'm happy, I'm going to cry. If I'm sad, I'm going to cry. Like, and I'm not going to apologize for crying. I actually have a whole article about stop telling, like, I got really mad one time, just like I have a boy, and that whole thing of boys don't cry or something, like, I got really mad about it, and I was like, no. And I did some research about, here's why we need to stop telling men not to cry. Like, we all need to cry. It's a way of releasing energy. So what we don't want to do is hold that stuck energy within our body. So happy resonates, angry, sad, frustrated. Like, I am a big, I don't cry a lot, but I cry now more than I ever have when I'm happy, and I cry when I am frustrated. Like, I will be more likely to cry when I'm frustrated than when I'm sad, because, like, that's just how it's gonna come out. Either I'm gonna scream into a pillow, or I'm gonna cry if I'm frustrated, usually. And there's no shame in it. Tracy said, I've been so drained lately. I've put a lot of pressure on myself this year. If there is any time not to put pressure on yourself, it is this year, okay? Can we all agree on that? Like, 2020 is just, woof, like, woof. at the beginning of this year, I was like, I'm going to be a light, I'm going to show up, blah, blah, blah. And I did. Like, this has been a great year, but there are so many things that we can't do. There are so many blocks, and there's so much frustration. And as empaths, we're picking up on the collective energy. It's also been an election year. Like, it's been a crazy ass year. And so if there's ever been a year not to put pressure on yourself, it would be this year. Like, time isn't even a thing this year. When all of this started on like Wednesdays, when I would get on a live, I'd be like, is it Wednesday? Am I here on the right day? Like, what time is it? Like, I still do that sometimes. Like, time is just, oh my gosh, this just came in. So time is not a thing. Like, it's already not a thing. Humans create time, and we're shifting. And so I feel like what Spirit's telling me, like they're ringing a bell. Like, I feel like something just clicked. This is amazing. Is that we create time, and Spirit's trying to show us, like, we told you time is not a thing. Time doesn't matter. Some days feel really fast. Like, this whole year feels like it went by really fast. But then some days feel slow. Like, they're never ending. And they're just trying to show us, like, time doesn't matter. We're supposed to be, this whole thing has been for us to slow down. This whole thing has been for us to, like, readjust with ourselves. And that's why so many people are opening up and awakening right now and doing the intuitive work right now that never thought they would do any intuitive work or like self-exploration, because they are drained and they're exhausted and they're trying to run on the same hamster wheel that is laying on its side right now, right? Like, things aren't running the way that they always were. We can't be running the way that we always were. So we've got to give ourselves a break. We've got to realize that time is just a thing, and we all are just doing our best, and we're learning and we're growing together. And I'm here to hold that light for you, hold that vibe for you, and just say, like, look, we're still here, we're still safe. Like, how beautiful is it that we work our asses off for these homes, and then we never spend any time in them because we're out working for them, and now we are forced to spend time in them. So we've been forced this year to look at the things that matter to us, to look at our homes, our families, to get back outside. Like, I keep saying, it's almost like it's the 90s again, like we're just hanging out, like sitting on the porch, like stuff like that. And yeah, I've had moments of being really hard on myself too, where especially in the beginning when everybody was home and I'm trying to work and I hit a wall every time I try to work, or like, it's just, it is what it is. And that's where we get into flow, and that's where we keep looking at when we're getting off the track. You may have to readjust yourself and get back on the track 6 times in one day, but who cares? Who cares? You're doing your best. You're here for a purpose. You're here to have all these experiences right now anyway, Tracy. All of us are. You chose to come here during this time. Your soul knew that this was going to happen. So if you could just take a breath, step back, and do that trust fall into the hands of the universe, you'll see that you're definitely supported, and you can give yourself a break. Allie said, yesterday I went to your website to snag the $9.99 because I love you and I love what you're doing is priceless. Then I realized it was $9.99 and it's still worth every penny, but I'm learning to manifest that. I value your knowledge so much. Can't thank you enough, sister. Oh, thank you, Allie. Yes, it is $9.99. But I do have payment plans available where you can pay, I think it's like $179 every couple of weeks. So that is much more manageable at a time. But the other thing is, like, you're working on manifesting. So I think that that's great. So you've got to remind yourself that you're worth it too. Like, thank you for saying that it's worth it. Thank you. But you've got to know that you're worth it too. You're worth the change. You're worth the investment. And this stuff, I said it yesterday, like, I'm not going to pretend that this is like, super, like, that it's not expensive. I'm not going to pretend that it's not. I've made the investments in myself too. I just bought a course too that was a lot more money than this course because I'm still learning and I'm still growing. And I know that if we invest in ourselves, like, it is priceless and it will always come back to us because we're doing the work, and the mindset work is in there as well. I would benefit learning more from you. And yeah, and there's so much on the blog too. Like, if you're just not ready, you're just not ready. And I understand. Or if it's just not the right time, I feel you are ready. If it's not the right time, I completely understand that. I get it. I've sat on courses, like I've looked at them and left and looked at them and left and looked at them and left. And usually I go back and I buy them and then I'm like, damn it, I wish I would have got that sale. Like same, same energy that it was then. But I get it. And that's why I have this free training and this will be up for a week. And then I have some of the Facebook lives and then I have all the content on my site and I have my YouTube channel. Like there is stuff available to you. It's just, this is what goes deeper and where you actually shift and where you actually do the work. So when the time's right, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here. How did you find your mentor? Oh, that's a good question. How did I find her? Podcast. I found her on a podcast. Or was it? No, I found her podcast through a Facebook group. I was in a Facebook group very similar to this one that was all about like learning and growing. And it was one of those like, it wasn't a free reading one. It had like a higher, cleaner vibe than that. Sometimes I feel like those are just like a free for all and I don't really love the vibes in those. And I was a part of some of those when I was learning too. I think they're very important. But it just, as I grew, I outgrew them, if that makes sense. Like sometimes I'll check in and I'll just like give a quick reading because it's fun. But I didn't like the give me, like it just didn't feel, I wasn't aligned. But I was in a Facebook group similar to this one. And then the girl who was in charge of the Facebook group had a podcast. And then I went to the podcast and it was kind of like this. Like I just kept listening to her stuff over and over and over. And then I joined her program. And then like now, over the years, like we're just friends now. Like we chat now and I'm like, hey, is this happening to your site? Like, is this happening? Like, what do you do with this? And she does the same thing to me. And we've actually like planned to meet. And then Corona. So again, we just go with the flow, right? Marie says, I'm on my journey, just learned Reiki and on my spiritual path slowly to help heal my anxiety and constant pain in the body. Yeah, and Reiki's a great way Reiki's great for healing. I love getting Reiki. I actually don't do Reiki. I do it in my own way, I guess. I do healings. I do them with spirit. I do them with the light, but I do them as in like spirit shows me where on the body needs to be healed and cleansed, and then we work there. So I actually don't do Reiki, and I admire everybody that does because I love getting me some Reiki. But yeah, like working on your spiritual path, learning to heal your anxiety, I think it all stems back to what's in the course is like going deeper and deeper and deeper within yourself, working with your inner child, working with your higher self, establishing that connection, because that's where the real healing is. And you would be so surprised too about the anxieties, the depression, the stories that we don't even realize that we still have that are stored within our bodies. And then when we release those, our physical symptoms will start to dissipate because it is stored energy that is causing the physical symptoms. Oh my gosh, Tracy. I'm so sorry to hear that. Definitely been a hard life, but this year has been insane. Well, wow. I wonder what's going on. Have you journaled about that? That's interesting. You are not complaining. Don't worry about that. We're here to support each other. We're here to be a light and kind of, I learned through you guys too, right? Like you learned through me, I learned through you guys too. And I don't think you're complaining. I think you're just saying what has happened and what has been there. And I do feel like you're ready to let it go. And so I would journal on it. I would journal like, okay, if you are close with your higher self, or if you know how to do automatic writing, I would try some automatic writing around it. Like, what is going on within my body? What in my body is letting go while also trying to hold on? Like, that's what it sounds like to me. What is letting go while trying to hold on? What am I holding on to? Or what do I need to let go of? That's what I'm hearing right now. What do I need to let go of? So maybe do some automatic writing or some journaling around that. And I know what you're saying, like a bag can only take so much. And I feel like when we get there, it's just like overflowing, and there's surrender. The word surrender keeps coming up, like surrender, like show me the way, I am ready, show me the way, I'm done with this. And like I said in I think it was the first day, sometimes we just have to get like pissed off enough to be like, I'm just not available for this anymore. I'm not available for these things to be happening to my physical body. I love my physical body, and doing some work around like how you feel about your body, and loving her, and adopting some affirmations and some mirror work every single day for the physical body can help as well. Like I said, I had a lot of health anxiety and a lot of actual health things that were coming up for me. And I feel like when that was happening, I was so focused and I was so angry at my body and angry at the things that were happening to me. And like, I love being out in the woods. Like, I love being out in nature. And I was so scared. I was in fact scared to go like put my hands on the grass. Like, that's how bad my health anxiety got. And I had to surrender and release all of that too. And I did that through this work too. So, okay guys, any other questions or anything for me? This is our last and final day together. This has been a great journey, you guys, and I really, really appreciate you all showing up. Like, it's been such a good crowd every day, and I realized when I got on here that I don't even think I sent a, bye Marie, thank you. I didn't send an email out for today as a reminder, I don't think, and we still had a pretty good showing. So I hope you all have a beautiful day, a beautiful Thanksgiving, and you know where to find me. Again, the course is open at this price through midnight tonight, and then it's going up. It's not going to be a big sale for this one on Black Friday. My other courses will also it'll be 15 to like 30% off on the mini courses. So this is the best deal that we're going to get through for this one. And I know you all deserve it. And again, there are payment plans that you can set up that are much more manageable. If you guys have any questions, please feel to email me. That's the best way to reach me always. Again, I don't get on Facebook that much. Either Instagram or email me at Ashley@Light, Love, and Spirit. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you all so much for joining me. I appreciate all of you, and I love all of you. Bye.